Okay.
I've taken some detailed notes on
Mm-hmm.
your situation and your concerns.
My concerns
And
with the VA of how I was treated at the VA.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep,
I'm
and I thought,
contacting this lady who's a state representative. It says she's the main House of Representative, uh, but now they're telling me that there's many different people that represent the state of Minnesota. So they're trying to figure out if she's the actual one in my district. Okay, but I reported all the violations that happened to me at the VA, and you made notes.
I made notes, yes.
This is the 202 office in D.C. of the House of Veterans Affairs Representatives that I'm talking to. Correct?
This is the house of, this is Representative Morrison's office.
Kelly Morrison's office?
Yes, who serves on the Committee of Veterans Affairs.
Okay, but you're telling me there's a bunch of other people that represent various different areas of Minnesota?
Yes, there's 8 different representatives for Minnesota, depending on where you live.
Okay. So why would it really matter, like, which representative, if they all represent the VA House Committee?
So it matters just because each representative has their different jurisdiction, and they can best serve their constituents, and they're responsible for a certain area. It kind of breaks up responsibility of sorts.
And what is your responsibility as a VA affairs representatives? What exactly does she do? What is her job?
Her job is to support all of her constituents in Minnesota, in her district in Minnesota, and
well, that would be all veterans. Well, that would be all
veterans
veterans in Minnesota.
Understood. And I am going to send this to our casework manager, but our office is limited in what we can do in some situations if you're not a constituent of our district.
Okay, so say I was a constituent and we find out she is my representative, then what is it? What do they generally do from there with a veteran's complaint?
I can't personally speak to that because that's not part of my job. I'm just an intern. But like I said, I'm getting you in contact with people from our district that are in Minnesota that could best handle this situation.
Okay. Because these are pretty serious violations at the VA that are happening. Then I guess I'll look up the person in the area, make sure I'm, contacting the right person. But I'll also expect a response from her as well, because we called her number. This is the 202 number I'm talking to in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
Veterans Affairs Committee, House of Veterans Affairs Committee, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And then there's a House Veterans Affairs Committee and a Senate.
Yes.
And so there's like two different. So what does the Senate House Committee do?
Well, basically, Minnesota senators, they represent the entire state, like the entire general state. So they have a slightly different job. And if you called, what?
Oh, maybe that it would probably be better to contact the state senator then, because it's more of a state, just a full state issue. It shouldn't be anything regarding my area. It's an overall issue with the VA, the care in the entire state that we're receiving. So it probably would be more better for me to contact the state senator.
Yes, you could contact the state senators as well. That could be beneficial.
Yeah. It sounds like it's
Okay.
more because I don't know, because it sounds like I'm just going to get the runaround from this constituent, because then she's going to say, well, I need to verify your address to make sure I'm in, your constituent, and then I don't really even know, then what does she do from here? What power does she have or whatever because I mean, I can't get any care there. I mean, I can't get care with the community care. We can't get care at the patient advocacy. We can't get care at the ER. So, I mean, this is a federal violation.
I understand. I hear you.
It's more of a federal violation. So I think it's more of a senator thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. I will still I will still flag this and I'll still talk to our team about it.
Okay.
But yes, go right ahead and call your senators.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Debbie.
Bye. Okay, so I just called Kelly Morrison's office, and they tried to say, well, we're not sure if she's exactly in your district, so you have to be in the specific district for them to do anything, and then even if you are in their district, I mean, who knows what if they are going to do anything, if they're on the I don't even know, like I said, if any of these state representatives are even veterans. To me, that should be like a number one priority. You can't be a veterans representative if you aren't a veteran yourself, when you don't, because you really don't understand veterans issues. So I guess so then and it's more of a federal issue, so that would probably more involve the senators. So the senators on the House Committee and Minnesota VA House Committee, I'll get those names. Okay. So it says Minnesota Senate Veterans and Military Affairs Finance and Policy Committee. Andrew Lang, Representative. Vice Chair Bruce Anderson. R means Republican. Ranking Minority Member Jerry Newton, DFL. Other committee members Zach Duckworth, Fong Houge, DFL. Jeff Howe, Republican, and Charles Weiger, DFL. Okay, so those are the people on more of a state level that should be addressing these very serious issues with the VA in Minnesota. I think it's nationwide. It's nationwide. There's been issues with the VA. So So who are the senators on the Veterans Affairs Committee? Okay, so here's all of the names listed. Let's see. The chair is Jerry Moran since January 3rd, 2025. The ranking member, Richard Blumenthal. There's 19 members on the Senate House Committee. So it says, the current ones would be, like I said, Jerry Moran out of Kansas, John Tester out of Montana, Jerry Moran out of Kansas. Okay, Johnny Saxon out of Georgia, Bernie Sanders, Vermont. Oh, please. God help us. Okay, Patty Murray out of Washington, Daniel Akaka out of Hawaii. Okay, that was back to 2011. So, the current ones are just those three, Jerry Moran, and just those two, Jerry Moran and John Tester. Okay, so, it only says 2 from 2021 to 2025. It only states 2 people. Okay, and the Google states Jerry Moran, Kansas again, John Boozman, Arkansas, Bill Cassidy, Louisiana, Mike Rounds, South Dakota. I've talked about Mike Rounds. He is not a good guy. Tom Tillis, North Carolina. He was associated with certain crimes that President Trump found out about in South Dakota in his first term, where they found that there was issues with the governors and the senators involved in the South Dakota School of Mines, and they were selling military patents to China. They sold our military patents to China. And this guy's on the Veterans Affairs Committee. Okay, does that make sense to you? Yeah, no. Okay, Tom Tillis, North Carolina. Dan Sullivan, Alaska. Marsha Blackburn, Tennessee. Kevin Kramer, North Dakota. Okay, so that's what came up so far. Okay, I don't see a state senator on this list in Minnesota, so I don't see someone on the Veterans Affairs out of Minnesota. So I don't know who to contact. I just contacted my state representative for that came up as Minnesota on the House side, and then they're supposed to send me an email. So we'll just see what they say in the email and go from there, because a lot of times they'll just give us the runaround, just like the patient advocate there at the VA. They just give the runaround. They don't actually do anything to help veterans. I can't get any care at the ER. The ER is just ridiculous. No, I can't get any care there. They don't do anything there. In Trump's first term, we had this 1-800 number that we could call to report bad doctors at the ER, and I had to call it several times. And my understanding is Trump fired like 1,000 people across the VA for the bad doctors, for veterans, complaining about the bad care, like his first administration. I know I had to call that number multiple times. So anyway, I just wanted to share that phone call with other veterans that I am trying to make an official complaint about this VA here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And then she tried to ask, it says right here that she's supposed to be like a House representative for the whole state. That's what it said it didn't say that there was different constituents. It said nothing about that on the website, on the Veterans Affairs House website. So I don't know, let's just see, because I don't know, that's not what it said on the House website, that there was all these different constituents. Who are all of the representatives? On the Veterans, Affairs Committee on the House side in Minnesota. I mean, I don't really know. Okay, so it says the House Veterans and Military Affairs Division in Minnesota. House of Representative includes Representative Matt Bliss, Jay Young, Amanda Hemmingsen Jager, and Rep. Bjorn Olsen. Okay, so this is really confusing because it doesn't even have this woman's name on it, Kelly. Okay. The House Veterans Affairs Division in Minnesota House of Representatives includes these. It doesn't even have Kelly's name on here. It says these other people: Matt Bliss, Jay Young, Representative Amanda Hemmingsen Jager, and Representative Bjorn Olsen. Okay, Minnesota House of Representatives website. Okay, it's veteran. Just has these. Okay, here we go. So 2025 to 2026. Co-chair, Representative Matt Bliss. Okay, there are local phone numbers here on this. Okay, Representative Jay Jeong. Co-vice chair, Representative Amanda Hemmingsen. Representative Bjorn Olson, St. Paul. Representative Peggy Pennett, St. Paul. Representative Mary Frances Clardy, St. Paul. Representative Ben Davis, St. Paul. Representative Beidel Duran, St. Paul. Okay, really? There's somebody for each district? How come they all say St. Paul? Representative Sandra Feast, St. Paul. These are District 39, District O2A, Representative Hosea Hill, District 33B, St. Paul. Seriously, they're all St. Paul. Or maybe that's where they're located. Okay, so there's different district. Carrie Redder, 35B. Representative Aaron Rapinski, 26A. Okay, I'm sorry that, I'm confused because this woman, Kelly, didn't even show up on this list. So now I'm totally confused. This is the Minnesota House of Representatives, website. It doesn't even state her name. And that was supposed to be, so all of them say St. Paul as being their main, the second floor Centennial Office Building in St. Paul. They're all located at the second floor Centennial Office Building in St. Paul, Minnesota. So if veterans want to speak to them about these very serious issues we're having at the VA, that is where you can go speak to them. They're on the second floor Centennial Office Building in St. Paul. Looks like they're right at the Capitol. And the fifth floor Centennial Office Building. Okay, they're all on either one of those floors. So if I was a veteran, of course I am a veteran, but if I were you and you're having issues like I am at the VA, I would just see if you could just go right there and speak to them. But I'm really confused. It's really confusing. Doesn't say anything about you have to, okay, there's different districts, but they're all centralized out of the Capitol. In St. Paul. So as a veteran, you should just be able to go to the Capitol and speak to somebody if they're right there on the second floor and the fifth floor, and you should just be able to state your complaints right there. They're right at the Capitol, the state capitol in St. Paul. Second floor Centennial Office Building and fifth floor Centennial Office Building. So I think, and I know a lot of other veterans are having problems at this VA and other VAs, and I think that people should just go try to speak to them and see what they say, So anyway, I just made that phone call, and I have a feeling that I'm just going to get the runaround. They're probably just going to send an email, oh, this isn't your district, or this or that. And it's just that's what they everything is so confusing, and nobody's taking accountability. And so that's like a runaround game. So, it sounds to me like it's going to be something like that again. And that's exactly what has been played before, a runaround. The police refer you to the FBI. The FBI refers you back to the police, and then, this person will refer me to this, this representative. And then that representative will refer me to the senator. And then you get so confused and so frustrated that they expect you just to drop the complaint. And I've had this happen before. This is not the first time I've been involved in this rodeo, in this runaround. I've been going through this for 12 years as a whistleblower. I think I don't know your games. I know your games way too well. Okay, so anyway, if I was other veterans, I would just contact the capital of your state, the state capital, because the veterans offices are located out of your state capital offices, and talk to your representatives that are located right at the state capitals and the Veterans Affairs Committee there, and state your complaint right there, and hold them accountable. Minnesota, that's where the House of Representatives are located, right out of your state capitals. Okay, so all right. See what happens.